Hello, my name is Greg Dixon, your Kartra Whisperer, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the sequences in Kartra. I have a sequence that I'm running. I'll show you what starts it, how to do the timing, and how to add new ones. Okay, here we are at the Kartra opening screen. This is what you see when you first log in, and the sequences are under a section called Communications. So that shows some recent leads. Communications are under sequences. Okay, the one sequence I'm going to do here is the LifeWave Thrive roadmap. We're involved with a network marketing group called LifeWave that has phototherapy patches. And I created this roadmap in order to help our team members. So here, the first thing it does is you can edit the sequence, and it'll ask you for a name, so you can change it here if you want to change the name. And then the first thing that pops up is a little tutorial. And many people shut down these tutorials because they get a little bit tedious, but I keep them going because once in a while I want to review all these things here, like the starting rules, what kind of actions to do, sequence navigation, how to arrange the icons, various ways of arranging it, zoom in and out, all these things. When you're doing it, maybe you don't need it, but what happens is you tend to start doing things, you do things that you know about, and you forget about some of the other features here. So I like to keep the tutorial going, and it doesn't take long to plow through them. So the first thing here are the starting rules, and right now I'm just going to do edit. And so the starting rules are things that trigger how people get into the sequence. So you can have an opt-in form. So if anybody fills out an opt-in form, it goes into here. A tag, if they happen to be on a list, added to a list, order, all sorts of things, sequence. So I use a tag, a thing called a tag. And what I've done here is a lead is assigned a LifeWave Thrive Team Roadmap. So if anybody has this tag, they get enrolled into this sequence. And the handy thing about using a tag is even if you've got people in your list and then you decide to create the sequence later, all you have to do is add the tag to the lead's profile, and then they automatically get subscribed to the sequence. So it gives some flexibility there. So then you just save and you move on. And so what happens here is a bunch of steps. So the first one here, as I said, send immediately after. It's a welcome to the Thrive Team Roadmap. And then I also send immediately is the first information email, which is welcome to your LifeWave back office. And I'll just take a look at here. You can profile, like if you're just not sure what it's in, you can do you can preview here if you're not going to edit. And there's the content. And then it'll show you what's in your email that goes out. So you can see here that I'm using plain text or nearly plain text. It's just a little bit of HTML. You can embed an image. You can boldface. You can do just sort of simple things. There's also an advanced email format that is much more detailed. I don't bother with that because I think generally your deliverability is better the simpler the email is, and also it's a lot of fuss. so here, and let's say I'm just going to look at, okay, one of the things here, so these ones, I had set this to set immediately after, but the next one here I want to set to start the next day. So let's see what we got. So here's a bunch of information. There's a delay. The first one is the delay. And so what I had set is for it to wait 7 hours after the first one went out. What I really want to do is force it to go out in the morning, but this is the first step. So you whenever people sign up, then the next you force it to be 7 hours later or 5 hours. Most of the ones I've done later have been 5 hours. And you get the little cog spinning. So in the day and time, this is where I can set for it to go. So I allow it any day of the week. You can restrict it to going, Monday to Friday and not send anything on Saturdays or Sundays. I'm aiming to send out one a day, every day, 7 days a week. So it doesn't really matter. And so I've got it set at between 7 a.m. and 7:59 a.m. This used to be up until about a month ago. This was Eastern Standard Time, and then they recently added it so that you can change your time zone in your profile. So I'm now in Pacific Time, and this sends out in Pacific Time. So that's a great change. Otherwise, you have to, if you're in England or somewhere, you'd have to do all of the math to figure out what time to set it at. So it's easier now than it used to be. So that between setting it, 5 to 7 hours later, and enforcing it in the morning, we'll in the most cases we'll force it to be delivered the next day. So all of these you'll see, 5 hours, 0 days and 5 hours, 0 days and 5 hours, 0 days and 5 hours, all the way down to the end. And the way this works is you can keep on adding to the sequence here. What am I at now? 22. So I got about 22 days worth of things here. 21 days really, and so what happens here with our team is that we have some team members who phone up and they say, well, how do I do this? And how do I do that? So I will sit down and write an answer to actually add the sequence here, and then create the email, and then I'll forward it to answer my team members' question. So I think the idea I have is if you're going to write it once and share it many times. It's easier if you've already composed the email than to just forward it on. And also, we're hoping to have hundreds of people in our team, and you don't want to be answering everybody's questions individually. So I'm trying to design the sequence to, as they're getting used to the LifeWave back office and the LifeWave products, and start selling to customers or recruiting their own team members, then I'm trying to answer the questions that they're going to have at the right time. Of course, everybody's going to progress at a different rates, so you can't get it 100%. But at least I'm trying to answer the questions, and I know this works because one of our teammates is regularly forwarding these emails to others, and other distributors are interested in creating this for themselves. So here's one of the things is how do you actually get paid once you're a distributor and you're earning bonuses and commissions and it's building up in your account. How do you actually get paid? So I just wrote a quick little note here about the different ways that are paid. There's the company LifeWay has created a guide, so I've got a link to the guide for them to read the details, and then here is how do you go through your back office, how you get into the pay card. And in this situation here, you actually have to apply for a new account on a separate platform in order to manage all the payments. So I just tried to provide these tips. It's not super detailed. The PDF is much more detailed, but this is just to point people in the right direction, getting them going the right way. So the way this goes, you've composed a note, and then you can send a test note to yourself, and then I'll just send it to me, Greg Dixon at sharedvisions.com. And then what I'll do is I'll go to my email, and then I'll read it to see if there are any obvious typos. They're always, as I subscribe to these things, and of course down the road you realize that you've used the wrong word or wrong, could be better. So it's a process of continuous improvement, and being able to preview it helps. Just get a test email. One of the features here is you've got some dynamic variables, so you can put in here. It says I say hello first name. I'll say howdy first name or something like that. And you can even put it into the subject line and this little information line as well, sort of a description. And that just personalizes it, so it feels like, hi Greg, how you doing, kind of thing. So it feels like you're being written to right directly. There are other things that you can include here. Mostly I don't. When I was testing, I put a thing in. There was something date joined, right? Because I was running a bunch of tests and I wanted to know when a certain person ended up as a lead in my system. So that's useful. But yeah, so that's the basic idea. And when you go, let's say you decided to add something else, I'm going to go down to the end here when when the cogs are finished. So here down at the bottom, we'll scroll down to the bottom, and you see here, this is the last one. It says the new you 90-day rejuvenation plan. I want to add something else here. Let's say, on the left hand side, there's a thing called send email. I'm going to drag it down here, and so here it's going to go through the series here. It says wait a number of steps. So I want this to go the next day. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to select 5 hours and go to the next one. And then it says, where do I want to time it? I'll put here, and I want it to go between 7 a.m. and 7:59 a.m. So that's specific time. So that's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Mountain time, 9 o'clock Central time. It's kind of a reasonable amount of time. And this one I'm gonna do is a video explaining the enhanced. Oops. Okay. Here you're limited on the number of characters, so I'm just going to do an abbreviation, and you can see I don't type very well, especially when I'm talking. So here, this is the email gateway. How is it going to go out? What's your return address? So I'm just going to put Greg Dixon here. It puts it on both sides. Send from and reply to email. So anybody receiving this will think it's from me. And then you go to the next section. And here's where there's all sorts of options about how to do this. But this is what I find works the best. So I want to send people who are subscribed to a list. And here it's LifeWave prospects. Really should be LifeWave team members, but it isn't. And then the next condition is that it has a tag. So the reason I do this is it's possible for each person that receives the email, it's possible for them to remove themselves from a list, but they can't remove themselves from a tag. And also, if they remove themselves from a list, I can still go back in their record and see what they've done. I know that they joined this roadmap and they were a member, and then I can see if they've decided to leave it. So it's a bit of, you can track through your contacts that way. So I guess if you really wanted to, you could write back and say, why did you leave? Though usually if they unsubscribe, it's not a good idea to send them anything further because they've unsubscribed. And here we go. And then you can have an option to do a single email or A/B test. So if you're from a marketing point of view, sometimes you'll have two separate notes and you want to see which one's more effective. So regular marketers will almost always use an A/B test. They'll have two versions, and then they'll find which one converts better, and then they'll go back and they'll run that one as their control and then come up with a second one to see if they can improve on that. So it depends on, I'm just sending out things for information, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just sort of trying to send out a single email. Everybody gets the same email. And here you add okay, video explaining. Again, my typing has not improved. The enhanced and there we go. And then this is a little signature that there's a little description. So you may notice if you're especially will notice it if you're in Gmail on your phone, it'll show you the subject line at the top, and then it'll have a little description underneath. And the little description underneath is very important. It helps clarify who it's from. I think it's a very good feature and worth paying some attention to. And so I say, okay, I'm going to say howdy. And then I just generally copy and paste this here, and then and go from there. So I'm not going to drag you through my painful typing showing you what I'm going to do, but essentially what I'm going to do is have a link to a video that's provided by LifeWave. It's about an hour long. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to link to the video, and I'll write a brief description about it and send it off. And then when I'm ready, I'll send a test email. Anyway, that's the main idea about this. When we're done, assuming this was all done, I'll just go next. And what it's saving, you might have seen there, it said checking the spam score. So Kartra does a good job of trying to anticipate things that are going to have trouble with spam blockers. So, they're going to check your heading and your subject line and all that sort of stuff to make sure it's okay. So the next step here is it's inactive here. You need to connect it. And then you also need to activate it. So I'm not going to activate it here. Once it's activated, then it'll show up in the sequence. I'm going to finish here, and then later after I've done this demo, I'm going to go back and actually write all of the content and write all the information for it. So the main thing this is useful for is, for example, if you have a membership program and you want to deliver it by email, you can have, maybe you've already planned out, you got 21 days worth of challenge or something. So you have 21 days of emails and you send them out. And each email could be completely self-contained, or it could link to a video, or could link to a page with information. It depends how you want to do it. It may actually just alert you about information in the membership and then just send them back into the membership site to go find the information. But it's handy to have, I think it's handy to have it come into the inbox and people can look at it and use it. It's more convenient than trying to track something down on a website or try to go into a membership site. So even if it is in a membership site or on a website, if you have a little email just sort of saying, here, there's a great article here, click here and read it, that's useful. And some people don't like getting things every day, and some people do. I subscribe to a number of marketers who put out an email every single day, or at least 5 days a week, and I kind of miss it if they don't. The trick is it has to be useful information, and it should be really entertaining, something that they want. With Kartra Mail, anybody who doesn't want to receive something can click on an unsubscribe button and manage their subscriptions. So I just really feel free to create content and send it out by email. And I think sequences are one of the most powerful features of Kartra. Anyway, thank you very much.